Hello, and on today's show, we want more Obi-wan Kenobi.
We're getting virtual without reality.
Netflix has an incredible documentary on making a murderer.
And the Department of Egregious Facts has put out a new statistic that the leading cause of death in 2015 was death.
Your emails and more on episode 11 of the Geek 30 Happy Hour. Happy New Year! Welcome back to another episode of the Geek 30 Happy Hour, where we drink a toast to all the geeky things we're passionate about. Today is January 10th, 2016. My name is Alex, and of course, there's Jojo.
Hello! How you doing today?
Good, man. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. I'm a little jumpy today, but it feels good,
It's
you know?
good.
So it's good. It's a new year.
I know. I think it was all the video games we were playing a little bit before the show started.
There was, not necessarily rage, but... And I wouldn't say anger. I got a lot of excitement going on. I was stabbing things, so it was a good, positive energy. You
guys will definitely be seeing more stuff if you guys tune into our YouTube channel. Lots of content going up on our new little mini series called The Lost Levels. But I would like to introduce today's guest. He's a good friend of mine, a fellow raider in the Filthy Casuals raid team that I put together on Earthen Ring in the AIE Guild. This is Don Miller.
Well. Hello.
Hello.
How's everybody?
Hello.
AKA Diddi.
Yes, I am Diddi. If you are active in the AIE world, I am the person known as Diddi.
Yeah, and he's for what do we call our little fan club? We have the stream that Diddi puts up during our raids, and the people watching them. I think Yulon calls them the Nasties.
Oh yeah, the Nasties.
That's good.
So anybody that watches the stream, yes, you are the Nasties.
Yeah, it's fun, and that's Diddy's stream you're watching. So we're totally happy to have you here, dude. Why don't you tell the world a little bit about you?
My name is Don. I am a software developer by trade. I am into all things geeky, and hence the reason I'm on the podcast tonight.
Yes.
And I met Alex through World of Warcraft, which is going to be our main topic for tonight.
Yeah. As we get into the topic that Don wants to talk about, this is a passion of, really all three of us.
All three of us. Yeah, I need to pick up on it really now, but yeah. And what's even more weird, a couple things that are really weird about this situation is that when I formed this raid team in January of 2013, you're one of the original founding members.
One of the original, I think there's 4 of us still left.
Maybe, yeah. And Laugh's back now, and shout out to Eric. Welcome back, buddy. There was, it was weird because I noticed that you were from Northern Virginia. And I reached out and I was like, oh, where are you at? And he literally lives like down the street from me.
Yeah, like half a mile tops.
Yeah, so small
He lives closer
world.
than I do. Good Lord.
I know, it's crazy to me that like we never synced up. And the second weirdest thing is that I have an uncle named Don Miller.
Yes, I've seen his pictures.
We've spoken about that, so this is kind of weird. He's not my Uncle Don. Uncle Don, if you're listening, this is not you. You're not in some weird, different reality.
Out-of-body experience.
Yeah, that's not happening, I swear. But he brought an awesome beer, so why don't we get into what we're drinking tonight?
Oh, hello, Geek 30. It's beer time.
Today's beer is brought to you by CDO, because OCD is out of order.
For all those OCD people.
All the OCD people. All the OCD people. It's CDO. It's CDO.
That's right. Just the letters are the way they're supposed to be.
Exactly. There is an order, and it needs to fit that order.
Oh, man, there's a lot of angry people listening right now. All right, so we are drinking Smuttynose Robust Porter. According to their website, it's a dark, roasty, and mysterious beer. It says, our most award-winning beer, Robust Porter, honors the dark, full-bodied ales that were a favorite of dockworkers and warehousemen, hence the name porter, in 19th century London, where the style originated. It's a good bet that when Dickens's Mr. Pickwick sat down for a pint, his beer would have been very similar to our Robust Porter. The smooth, deceptively drinkable beer features an assertive, that's a big word, assertive hop profile which accentuates signature flavors of coffee and dark chocolate. Won a gold medal 2001 Great American Beer Festival. Look at all these awards on their website. We'll put up the website in the show notes. And this is one of Don's favorite beers. So, Don, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Actually, this is probably my favorite beer. I absolutely make sure that I keep this in the house at all times.
Good man.
Awesome.
It is very smooth. It doesn't have quite the smoky taste of a lot of porters, but it's definitely got that chocolate ending to it.
Yes.
It's really, really good. Very smooth.
And with that, guys, cheers.
Cheers.
Let's give it a sip. It's like,
that's
it's
good.
chocolatey and
It's very smooth.
and dark.
Very
It's a lot smoother than I expect for a
Really,
porter.
really smooth. Yeah.
It's almost like water.
And there's definitely there's definitely that hoppiness, but it's really just enough.
Just a hint of hops to it.
It's like a perfect balance.
There's a lot of flavors going on in there.
It's a perfect
Which
balance.
kind of worried me because the aroma, it's a very sweet floral aroma. So I was worried it would be a lot more floral, a lot more hoppy, and it's not. It's really well balanced.
Right. And it's a 6.2% ABV. So that's generous.
Yeah. It's better than most.
Yeah. So
No complaints here.
it says the color is dark ebony brown. The hops that they're using, Magnum. It says bittering is Magnum, flavoring Cascade. I don't even know what that means. I just think it tastes great.
Right, exactly.
I don't know, Jamie. If you're listening to this and you know what it means, feel free to like add your voice in post edit and talk about that. Jamie's kind of a beer snob like that.
You have to do it in your German accent.
Yes. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's Jamie's voice doing a little German accent before this segment.
And I just want to point out that thing is pitch black.
It is.
You cannot see through
It
it.
is. And I mean, is this generally available? It's brewed in New Hampshire, right?
Maine.
Was it Maine or New Hampshire?
I think they're in Maine.
Hold on. Let's look at it.
I just got the label right here. Brewing fine beers in New Hampshire since 1984.
Yes. Oh no, Maine is from. It's a later topic. We had a guest write in. We'll get to that in a bit. From Maine. This is a great beer, man. I appreciate you bringing it in.
Thank you so much.
It's not mainstream. Normally, you have to go to some type of beverage store to find it.
Specialty shop.
A specialty store.
Yeah, around here we have our like Total Wine and more. Total Wine and More, right? Is that what it's called?
Isn't it Total Beverage?
Total Beverage?
Total Beverage nowadays.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they do more than just wine, apparently.
They've switched
Really?
back and forth about 3 times.
Yeah.
It depends on who's managing at the time.
Yeah. So if you guys have this available and really like dark beers, this is definitely worth checking out. And let's get into the news.
Geek30 News!
All right, so I don't know if you guys have heard about this movie that came out called like The Warring of the Stars.
The wearing of the stars?
The warring of the like they were warring, like they were going to battle.
Wasn't there a trek to that war though?
No. That's a completely different story.
There was no trekking to the wars.
Completely different story.
War trek? What?
I don't know if you guys have listened to this show before, but we really like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we got some exciting news this past week that they're talking about. Well, okay, let's backtrack for a second. There's always been talk about an Obi-Wan related movie coming out. There's rumors about a trilogy. So that's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
That's kind of cool. And it there's a lot of ideas that going through my mind about this. One, because I'm a huge nerd for Star Wars. But one of the biggest things is that, like this will fill in a huge gap of time that happens between episode, 3 and 4. There was I read an article on Nerdist, and we'll put the article in the show notes as always. You can view all this stuff on our website, geek30.com, spell out the word 30. And essentially they were talking about Ewan McGregor coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi, which we all kind of guessed, but for like a trilogy. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I think that's fantastic. For 40 years, we've been wanting to know the backstory to all these characters, and now we're finally going to get it.
Definitely.
That's fantastic.
And a lot of the focus has always been on Skywalker, but the focus is on Skywalker, but a lot of that story, the actual gut of it is Kenobi, Yeah. So you forget that he started Skywalker, Luke on his trail. Mm-hmm. He trained Anakin. There's a lot of things going on. I have some theories of the next trilogy, but I'm gonna leave those out right now because who knows who's listening and whatnot.
And we can get into that for a second. Well, eventually in this conversation.
Exactly.
But with Kenobi coming back, if you guys have ever seen the Clone Wars, have you guys watched that animated series?
I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen parts of it.
Okay, the animated and the CGI versions.
Right.
There was the Clone Troopers and the Clone Wars.
I'm specifically speaking to the CGI piece because there's a lot more that we learn about Obi-Wan Kenobi in that. People listening, if you guys want a really cool show, we talked about it a couple times on this show. It's a great series. It's all on Netflix.
It's great for your kids, but there's so much content on there, and the only reason why it's great for your kids is because it's not just bad versus good. There's a lot of gray area.
Yeah.
There's politics. There's war. There's fights on a small level. There's fights on a big level. There's two people bickering versus millions of people. So much depth to this show,
and lots of background and more in-depth looks at Obi-Wan.
Right,
which is really cool. He's such a deep character.
Yeah.
We learn more about maybe his quote unquote romance.
Possible
with the
Mandalorian, no?
Yeah, with the Queen of Mandalore. Also, Darth Maul comes back at one point, which is
my favorite character.
Yeah,
one of my very favorite characters.
Well, I'm glad that he's not completely gone.
Yeah, it's Darth Maul.
And at this point, it's not really a spoiler, but. He survived that drop after Obi-Wan cut him in half, and he becomes almost resurrected by his brother Savage, who you just watch the series, but they actually have sort of a final showdown in a sense, not necessarily Darth Maul and Obi-Wan, but Darth Maul versus Sidious, which is really really cool. The whole fight scene. Centers around, Sidious basically at the end of it, and by the way, he's a badass.
No, definitely. Yeah. He schools them.
Yeah. Oh my God. But at the end of it, he basically just almost enslaves Darth Maul. Well, Maul, he's not really a Darth anymore. He's just his own thing. But then that's how they leave it. He's alive. He's out there in the universe somewhere.
Right.
So, and throughout the series, he's constantly looking to get revenge on Obi-Wan, and it sets up for a really interesting story. So it would be cool to kind of see those loose ends tied up.
Definitely,
especially because he's a fan favorite.
Yeah, he is a fan favorite, and to tell that story, that's what the people have been wanting. That's what the fans have wanted for all these years. Is to know what happened in between there. And
definitely, yeah.
I loved Ventress. They did a great job with Ventress, but she's just not Maul.
No,
Maul just had his own depth and his own character, and it's just phenomenal. And I love the fight with him and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and everything that's gone since then. It was great depth of character.
To this day, it's my favorite lightsaber battle. I think Episode 1. It's my least favorite film, but my favorite lightsaber battle because the choreography is great.
The choreography and the music.
Yeah.
Duel of Fates.
and Ewan McGregor's response when he sees Qui-Gon die. It's so genuine.
Qui-Gon dies?
Oh shoot! Spoiler! Oh no!
There's a count. It was 99. It's nearly 20 years old now. So
we're past that.
Was it 99 or 2001?
2000. Well,
it's IMDb. There's an internet machine, right?
Well, while JoJo's looking that up, they're still talking about. Obviously, we don't want to ignore the other anthology films that are out there. We have
99.
99, okay. 1999 was when The Phantom Menace came out.
Wow.
But then we have, Rogue One comes out this year. Now we're in 2016. We're in the year of a lot of great movies, including the next Star Wars movie.
I saw something on injured. It was like, shut up and take my... Or I'm going bankrupt or something like that because all the movies that are coming out from Marvel, from DC, all the shows that are coming out, all the movies, all the video games. It's going to be a great year for video games. It's just going to be expensive media year.
I know.
This is going to be a great year for movies.
Yeah.
Because they If you are a geeky person, this is your year for movies.
Right.
It's our time, people!
This is it.
I mean, it took them a while to kind of turn that tide, because back in, the 80s, if you went to Star Wars, you were just kind of a geek, Maybe some of the popular people kind of saw it. Maybe people went to see Star Trek, but now everybody kind of embraces it. It's like, this is good stuff. It's for everybody now. So I kind of like the fact that everybody's a geek in that aspect,
totally.
Bring it to the mainstream.
So we have Rogue One coming out. We have Han Solo, the Han Solo Origins movie coming out. The other anthology movie coming out, it's confirmed, is Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they're almost making their own series out of the Kenobi story, which lends some credibility to the idea of maybe Kenobi has a much deeper relationship in this new Star Wars movie than...
Well, that's one of my theories that I had, but...
So let's take a quick thought here.
Possibly.
Are we... Okay, we all kind of know the theory. Do you think that they're setting something up here with some background?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's some big bomb coming in the next movie. Absolutely.
Well, my take has always been the original trilogy was the story of Skywalker. And they set up the prequels, because you can't really get to prequels without the original series. That's how they wanted to draw, this is what happened in the past, this is what brought Darth Vader to fruition. But I don't believe the prequels to be the story of Darth Vader per se. I believe it to be the story of Obi-Wan, honestly, for everything that I see.
Well, I would almost say that it's just as much Darth Vader's story as it is Obi-Wan's story.
But see, I see it's more so, because Darth Vader's story starts, to me, at like 3, whereas Obi-Wan started the whole time. And this is
I see what you're saying.
The entire trilogy is more of an Obi-Wan kind of a deal. So the focus, and that's where my kind of theory comes into play, where it was a Kenobi training a Skywalker, and then they fight, and then as Skywalker starts Skywalker, with the Vader and Luke.
Skywalker becomes Vader basically as soon as he offs Mace Windu.
Right, exactly.
It's basically when that happens. Solidifies it when he kills the kids.
Right, obviously that's I mean anyone's a Vader at that point.
Right, that's seriously one of the hardest things for me to watch to this day.
Really tough.
Exactly. Yeah. But then the original trilogy is Skywalker versus Skywalker, so I'm wondering if the sequels is going to be a Skywalker versus a Kenobi.
Yep. And without going into too much more detail, you guys who have seen the movie may kind of get an idea as to what we're talking about.
Right.
If you'd like to engage with us more on this potential, on this, it's not a spoiler, but it's also, if you haven't seen the movie yet, we don't want to dive too deep into it.
Also, shame on you.
Shame on you. What are you waiting on?
We've all seen it twice already.
Come on.
Three.
Okay, sorry.
Well, at least twice.
we all got to get on Don's level. That's all it is.
Working on it.
Yeah. So again, let us know if you'd like to engage with us on this topic. We think it's super interesting. Shoot us an email, geek30podcast@gmail.com.
Head us up on Facebook or Twitter. Tell us we're wrong. Tell us we're right. Tell us what your thoughts are. Maybe indicate spoiler alert before writing something in case you want to talk about the sequels.
Totally.
In case any of our non-Christian, Star Wars fans are reading through the post and see something they don't want to see yet, they haven't seen yet, because you never know. People were on holidays, New Year's, Christmas, all that fun stuff. So
be respectful.
Be respectful.
All right.
Definitely.
Next up on the docket, virtual reality is a thing.
That's crazy.
Is that kind of cool?
Yeah.
So Oculus Rift is officially going on sale finally after how many years?
Oh wow!
How many years is the dev kit?
Well, I mean that's Oculus Rift, and it's been at least 3 years in my, if not 5. But virtual reality's been tried to be made a thing for the longest time, and it's just never caught ground.
15 years.
Yeah, exactly.
At least.
They tried to do it with Voodoo video cards even before Nvidia bought them and it became a thing. And
I can remember walking into a room that had panels all the way around, 360-degree panels, and then they'd show the camera, which was this big wheel with cameras pointed every direction to try to give you that 3D virtual reality immersion that they're trying to get. Now they, now they sell it.
There would be
now it just fits around your head.
Yeah, they would sell demos where you'd have this computer attachment, because obviously all the processing was in the computer, like back in '96. We put glasses on, and it looked like the original Tron. It was super blocky and super bad and whatnot. But wherever you moved, it followed you. And even Disney, some of the attractions, I know Aladdin's Magic Carpet ride was in 3D, and so it kind of gave you a bit of a virtual. So it wasn't a full immersion, but it was a pretty close, immersion to that. So they've been trying to get it to happen for a very long time, and I think now it's finally catching ground.
Yeah,
absolutely, and not all around too. Not just in entertainment, but in
the movie
defense and in industry and medical and it's really catching hold across the.
They're doing that with ultrasounds now with babies and be able to image things and see them in real life.
It's wild.
And it's crazy. We talked about it before with the movies where you can step into a digital set and say, well, let's put a car here and so we can stage everything correctly. So
episode 2 of this podcast, if you guys wanted to hear kind of a cool conversation, that was fun.
Yeah, that was insane. So they're doing a lot of great things with that.
Yeah, and there was an article that I specifically found from ARS Technica that I thought was pretty cool. It just kind of covered the announcement that Oculus Rift is going on sale. $599, first of all. That's pretty steep. I mean, I get the technology that we're getting over 1,000. Well, is that okay?
You spend it on your phone,
but you take your phone everywhere. Though your phone is attached to you as opposed to your Oculus Rift.
Don was waving his phone around in the air. And hey, man, that's fair. That is totally fair. And you know what? We're getting like over 100 games coming out for this thing as soon as it comes out, which I think all 3 of us are excited for the potential for gaming on this thing. But just some quick background for you guys who didn't know. I mean, it was bought for $2 billion by Facebook.
Yeah, it was Facebook, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? I think it was Facebook. Let me make sure. Let me make sure. $2 billion buyout. Clicking on the thing. Facebook purchase. Yep. We got articles here that we're going to put in the thing for you. What are you guys most excited about when it comes to VR? I mean, for me, it's gaming. I'm sure it's pretty similar for you, right, Don?
It's got to be gaming, yeah.
So what aspect of gaming do you think is going to be most intriguing to you with this?
Well, I think for the first-person shooter, it's the holy grail.
Oh,
it's it. If you can walk through
Fallout
the environment,
or Call of Duty,
or Call of Duty, whatever environment you're in and
World of
whatever
Warcraft.
game you're playing, when you can walk through and you can look to your left and see what the thing, what the thing is there, and then you can look to your right and see, what's over there. That's the holy grail of gaming. That's fantastic.
I think of more Ender's Game, kind of the StarCraft, and be able to do RTS real time, maybe with your hands, maybe an augmented reality kind of a deal. Because I feel like I would get motion sickness if I had that. Because I've tried it before. I built my parents a home theater with a 120-inch screen. I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn off all the lights, 7.1 surround sound, but in Doom 3, I want to scare the shit out of myself. I didn't get 5 minutes into that game. And I started getting motion sickness because the whole wall was moving. I was like, okay, I can't handle it.
You didn't even have a chance to get scared.
I didn't have a chance to get scared.
So fun.
I tried to. So I feel like first person might not work for me, but there's so many different applications for this that I'm not ruled out in that case.
Yeah, I think for me, it's funny. I agree. I think that the horror genre is going to be amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of scary games. I love psyching myself out. I can't wait for the moment where I tear that VR headset off and almost throw it at the wall because I scared the shit out of myself.
Like a Slender Man kind of a game.
Oh, man, that was so good.
And Can you imagine Silent Hill?
Yeah.
And then again, that's just the goggles. You put in a surround sound pair of headphones.
Yep. Yeah.
So there was a great video. You can probably YouTube it or something, guys. It's like they were demoing the capabilities of, I think it was the Oculus headset. And they put the surround system stereo on, and they put this guy on what he was standing there with everything on, and they were showing on the TV he was basically riding a roller coaster, and it was going up the hill and up the hill and up the hill, and it was at that moment at the very, very top, and it was about to go down, and one of his friends shoved him as soon as it was about to go down. And the dude started flailing and hitting people, and he was like, he still had the thing on, and he was losing it. And they had to like subdue him and like tear it off of him, and he had like total vertigo. It was really funny.
Well, your brain believes it. It's what it presented. It doesn't have anything peripheral.
Yeah.
That's the only information it's being given.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that demo.
Oh, have you?
With the virtual reality helmet.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty immersive, isn't it?
I work for one of the large defense contractors in the area, and we have a full virtual reality division.
Nice.
Ours is to do bad things, but
fair enough.
Well, it's DC, so I mean that's the.
But they have the demos. They have demos. One of the demos is a roller coaster, and
awesome.
So cool. That's so cool.
I'm still excited for, again, we may just mention before, but like in Star Wars, that they can create a world, and if the movie is playing in progress, you can see the other stuff that's going on simultaneously. Just kind of step into the movie.
Yeah.
What's it, like the demo of being in an X-wing?
Yeah.
And being able to look around in a battle while you're in the X-wing.
Like you're
cool
flying, you're flying through the trenches of the Death Star.
Yeah, I would
awesome.
build like an actuator kind of system and build an X-wing. Like it wouldn't be an X-wing, but it'd be just like a pod I could sit in. I'd be over it. I would never leave home.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right.
Well, all right, but next on the list. Okay, Deanna and I have been binge watching. Binge watching is probably the right term here. Making a Murderer. This is a series out on Netflix that I'm sure the world is kind of familiar with. It scratched that same sort of itch that I had when I no longer was able to listen to Serial, and I still wanted to listen to that sort of crime drama sort of, thing. And Deanna's pretty obsessed with it. I'd say just as much as... Deanna, you're pretty obsessed with Making a Murderer, right?
She's passive-aggressively not listening to you.
Yeah, she likes that show a lot. So I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Neither of you guys have seen it, but I think this is more to the point. You guys have heard about it.
Right.
I've heard about it. I've
And
read an awful lot about that case.
A tremendous... Yes.
In particular.
And what's brilliant about this, and just quickly giving a quick dive into this, it's a story about Stephen Avery, who was wrongfully arrested for sexual assault, put in prison for 18 years just to find out that he wasn't the guy who did it.
Right.
Brought out of prison. A couple years later, he's arrested for murder. And that's all I'm going to leave it at. They go into different points of view on the whole situation, very similar to what Serial does. So, Don, you've listened to Serial.
Mm-hmm.
Jojo, you haven't.
I have not. But
I think what's crazy about both of these scenarios is that it's brought up new conversations about the way our justice system may or may not be working. A potential for these guys to maybe have a second chance, for people who may be on their side. It gives them a different perspective. What's your thought on this? It seems like almost like a new emerging genre, right?
Right.
Like, what's your thought? Like, from somebody who's listened to Serial and, it has been in this sort of genre before. Don, what do you think?
I think sometimes you have to look at these things with rose-colored glasses and make sure that you get the other side of the story, because the advocacy documentary, which is what this is, doesn't tell the whole story.
Yep.
And you really need to know all the facts before you can make any type of informed decision about something like this.
Yep. And that's something that Deanna pointed out to me today. We were looking on social media, and she said something along the lines of, what was it? It was an article that basically explained... So if you're watching the documentary, I mean, it's pretty blatantly obvious that they're on Stephen Avery's side. That he was framed for this murder, and that the justice system is corrupt. When you're watching, you're like, yeah, dude, I could totally see that. Like, it's it's hard to argue it. But she found an article today that was like some things that the Stephen Avery documentary does not cover. I did not read it yet because I still want to get through the rest of it. But it's interesting to see how something like this sort of media is creating so much hype around a topic like this.
Right.
So I think it's really interesting, especially in this age of our society is now really taking an interest and crime and drama is becoming sexy again. You know what I mean?
It's just kind of weird to point on what Don said, that you don't always get all the details.
Yeah.
This is a brilliant kind of execution in that marketing thing, because they show, hey, not everything's black and white, it's kind of gray. but just showing you these colors of grays. They're not showing you those colors of gray. They're kind of, it's like, hey, there's a bigger picture, but we're only showing you the part of the bigger, they kind of pretty it up and, polish it to give you the information that they want to give you.
They don't want to show you everything.
I think what's really good about this, though, is that it opens up and starts a discussion.
Exactly.
About the things that are referenced in the documentary. The justice system, and how people are treated and how evidence is collected and handled and how the police are, the overwatch and oversight on the police and that kind of thing. I think that's what's really good about it, is it opens up that discussion.
Because you'll find different crime scenes. Some people, everybody's seen the shows like CSI and this, that, and you get a bolt, you throw it in a machine, and you get an answer and whatever, all fun stuff. But you'll find that people do a better job than what the shows do and can't get an answer. And you find people that just don't care, and you don't get all the details you're supposed to, and they might have found information they just completely overlooked. And there's a lot of, again, it depends on the individual, not just, the police suck as a whole. The police are amazing as a whole. There's a lot of gray areas, so it does open up that kind of worms, and not just the police, but like the judicial systems, the lawyers, everybody else that's involved in it. So
and there was an article I found on CNN that it says 5 things to know about making a murderer, and it's good, especially like if you haven't started watching this, you kind of want to maybe see if it's something that interests you. This is a good article, so definitely check out the show notes. I urge both of you guys to watch it, whether or not. Whatever the true outcome of this case is, I think bottom line, it's heartbreaking because somebody lost their life, it's a very young woman who died somehow, but the questions that it's asking are really provocative,
right?
And makes for really freaking good TV.
Right, exactly.
A really, really good story.
Well, I seem to catch him on Doctor Who, and then maybe I'll pop that.
Jesus Christ. Breaking my heart.
I know. I need to catch up on Peter Capaldi, I know.
But
I will be watching this.
But team, out there, if you guys are watching Making a Murderer and you want to weigh in on what you think is going on with this and where you stand, if you believe Stephen Avery's case or not, shoot me an email, because I'd be really, really curious to see what people think. geek30podcast@gmail.com. Now let's chat a little bit about what Don wants to talk about. Well, okay, all right. To be fair, all 3 of us want to talk about this.
Don't put all the blame on his shoulders.
Yeah.
It's not only his burden to bear.
I was going to throw Diddi under the bus, but I'm not going to. World of Warcraft. Now, we talked a little bit about how 2016 is going to be...
You talked a lot about it on the first episode.
No. But let me finish my sentence. We talked a little bit about how 2016 is going to be a big year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very big year for the Warcraft franchise. Franchise? Is there an X in there somewhere? It's silent. It's a very big year for Warcraft. Because we're getting Legion, which is a new expansion. Expanding on the story, if you will.
Yeah.
Expansion of the story. But we're also getting a movie.
We're getting the movie.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Wow, we're getting the movie.
It's going to be really good. I'm loving the trailers. Everything that I'm seeing. I've been playing Warcraft since beta, so over 10 years. Golly, I was playing
with the movie. They actually did a lot of really good camera tricks. They didn't do a lot of CGI. They actually went for real world tricks to make it look more real and more believable.
Right. What they're doing with this movie is groundbreaking for Hollywood.
Right.
So
you actually kind of take a step back considering it's a video game that's all digital.
So, but let's shift it over to Don, because Don, what about Warcraft and this story, the game, everything? What do you love about it?
Wow.
Loaded question.
Everything. It is what a video game is supposed to be. It pulls you. It has great story. It has great gameplay. You get to do it with your friends. You meet so many people. I met my wife playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So hold on. Focusing on that, because I've heard this story. Don, why don't you tell the people? Okay. And while he's doing that, I'm opening another beer. Hold on.
New beer.
Oh,
Pop me one.
All right. Go ahead and finish yours, Don, and we're opening up more beers.
Okay. So friends of mine at work, I was playing another game, which I won't mention.
What game?
I was playing Dark Ages of Camelot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
I love that. Mythic Entertainment, may you rest in peace.
and I was still into it, and I was really enjoying it. And believe it or not, I was tank in that game.
You were tanking in that game?
Tanking, yeah.
Oh, boy.
It was a different life for him.
And the guys at work said, "Hey, you have to play this game. We just started playing. It's a blast." I said, "Oh, I don't know. I'm really enjoying my games. Like, you got to try it." So this was about 2 weeks after it came out.
Uh-huh.
I said, "Fine." So I tried it, and I was hooked. I've been playing it ever since.
Yeah.
And
So 2 weeks after it came out, you've been playing it for
2
10
weeks
years.
after it
11
came
years.
out.
Yeah.
And I've been playing. I have not let my subscription lapse
Oh, wow.
at all. I have the 10-year statue. We actually have 2 of them.
Oh, wow.
I have to admit, I've let my. You got to take a sip of this. I poured Don's beer up to the frickin' rim. Handle it. Yep, there you go, my
Like
man.
a man. Awesome. So you get a statue for 10 years?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I have got a rosin statue of the orc that's in front of the orc on the.
Oh,
Yeah,
on
the cover arts?
Yes, it's
Okay.
That's
Well-
in front of Blizzard.
in front of Blizzard Entertainment, in front of
Oh.
their building, they have this huge statue
It's on a
of
wolf.
riding a wolf.
Yeah.
It's badass, dude. Look it up.
Yeah.
It's really freaking cool. But go ahead, keep on.
So I was in a change in life with my personal life at that time, and the people that I was playing with from work started raiding, and we had a nice little raid team going, and one of the people that I raided with was a very lovely night elf, and I made some comment one night about if music be the food of life, play on, and she's like, "That's my favorite quote." I'm like, and so we got to
Look
talking.
at that.
Nice.
We got to talking.
It's poetry.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Ladies, man. Look at that. That's cool, though, right? That's cool.
Yeah,
So
that's-
Jojo pulled up the
yeah,
picture.
yeah, that's
If
insane.
you guys are home
You
and
have a
don't
statue
know
of that?
Yes, I got a
insane.
statue of
That's
that
so
for
freaking
having your subscription for 10 years continuous without missing.
I would pay every year to make sure my subscription stayed up if
Yeah.
I got a statue at the end of
Yeah,
that.
seriously. If you guys at home are interested in looking at that, just search for the statue in front of the Blizzard building, and you'll see it's an orc riding a wolf, and it is so
I wonder who
badass.
they commissioned to do that because it's so detailed
It
for
really
the size
is.
of it.
It really is. But Don, back to your story.
Well, yeah, so we got to talking,
Uh-huh.
and we got, and after several months, we said, "Hey, how would you like to meet?" And we're like, "Okay." So I actually went up there. Half of our team was in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Half of the guild was in Canada, and half of them were here in Northern Virginia. So I actually went up to meet everybody.
Oh, wow.
But I met her, and it was like peas in a pod. We
That's
hit
great.
it off immediately. It
Good.
was just like, when you meet your soulmate,
Yeah.
that was it.
Well, it's not like you only had a couple of months already of dialogue.
right,
You
and
already knew
we
the
also
person.
knew the person.
Right.
I knew
Yeah.
her,
So
and we
just
talked.
getting the
and-
face at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, that's awesome. And these are some people look at video games as something, like they don't really understand that when you're playing online, especially with other people that you become really close with. Like Don, I mean, you and I have been playing together now for a little over 2 years.
yeah.
We've been playing for it's been like 2 years as of like 3 days ago. You build great relationships with people. I mean, these are real people and real bonds. Real dialogue that happens. I think it's a beautiful. I've built some beautiful, long-lasting relationships in World of Warcraft, and it's the longest-lasting MMO. Is it not, or is ever?
I think EverQuest
Is EverQuest still-
EverQuest
is it still?
is still going.
Okay.
So
Okay, so maybe
think
yeah.
EverQuest-
Well, because didn't they have like a 2 or sequel or something like that? Is
They
is
do, but I think the original is
it's still
still
going.
going,
Wow,
Yeah.
that's insane.
And I think some people just hate World of Warcraft for whatever reason, and that's okay, right? We're all allowed to love and hate our own things.
Right.
That's up to you. For people out there who may have a different game that maybe they've had the same sort of connection with that we've had with World of Warcraft, I would love to hear what game that is, because I'm always interested in hearing stories like Don's. If it's something that you would like to share on the show, definitely hit us up, geek30podcast@gmail.com. But on the topic of raid teams, now Don and I are going to try to talk JoJo into joining the
I mean, do you guys need a healer?
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
Because I can't DPS with a damn.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We'll get you on it. We'll be.
I can occasionally tank, but usually I heal.
We're already a little healer heavy, and that's okay. I mean, I think what's great about
I can relearn tank, because tank was my second.
Well,
I just never did DPS. I can never focus on DPS.
Yeah, well, I've our tanking spots are full, me being one of them. So.
Okay, yeah, hey, that's not a problem at all.
Although if you listen to us every week, he can't tank.
I'm the team punching bag. They love to beat me up, and that's okay.
Well, when the DPS pulls aggro before the tank gets out there.
Golly, they make my life so hard. I would rather be struggling as a tank to keep aggro than knowing that my DPS were like kicking ass.
Yeah.
Than just sitting there and like walking away from my computer and coming back and being like, oh, I'm still got aggro. Okay. Well, so it's a good thing.
I remember one time, and this is an old version of Sunken Temple, because obviously I haven't been there in a while. I know they've changed Sunken Temple to make it shorter, I think, and they have. They
did, yeah.
Yeah, so they did a couple things on there. And I was playing with one of my friends, and we were doing the dungeon. And for whatever reason, he was always the tank, and I was always a healer, because it was easier to find groups that way. Because we never did... he has a DPS couple classes, whatever, but to find a group to play online, everybody was always DPS. So they always needed a tank and healer. Since we were a tank and healer, it was an easy combo. I remember one time we were in the Sunken Temple on the second floor, and the Dragonkin was on the bottom floor. And for whatever reason, someone decided, oh, I'm just going to walk around, and oops, I just kind of fell off the side. And everybody's like, oh no, let's go save him. And it was like 3 different groups that jumped in simultaneously. I'm like, okay, well, the tank doesn't have the aggro, and everybody's dying. And I'm just like, click, 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 click. I don't know how I kept everybody alive.
Yeah, look at you, Scott. All right.
I don't know what happened there. It's like, okay, I need like a shot of whiskey after this. Yeah. And I need to calm down.
I love it.
Like, it was really strenuous on there. And I don't usually get that with a video game. Like, it's a really cool thing. You get really invested emotionally in it.
Oh my, there's so many times during a raid where you're like, I'm at the end, I'm like going, and the blood is pumping and the adrenaline's going, you're like, oh my God.
It is. I don't,
wow.
So when we raid from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern, and we have raid members all over the world, really. I mean, if you count Shimmer, if she goes off to Australia, and she might raid with us from Australia.
Oh, wow.
So, I'm up until 11, doing things. And then because the adrenaline is pumping so hard by the end, I don't fall asleep until like midnight, 1 o'clock.
Oh, I can't go to sleep at all.
It's really bad.
It's terrible.
It's really bad. So I'll stay up and like watch an episode of Girls, which is a great show. Have you guys watched Girls? I'm sorry, tangent.
I still haven't done Making Murderer.
Too many shows.
Oh,
so
it's so good. Only because I have a man crush on Adam Driver right now.
There you go.
But I think something special with Warcraft and specifically this group. I think I've said it before. I've led raid teams in multiple games, especially Warcraft. This is one of the best,
right? And again,
because of the group of people that I think
it was Ellen that brought me in the first time, because I played it when it first came out. I was like, it's okay. There's no real definitive end and whatnot. But Ellen was my favorite character in Warcraft 3, and when they brought out the Brinker's Crusade, it's like, I need to go play this. And so they're bringing them back. It's like, I need to go play this. I need to go start building my characters up again. So it's a little bit of nostalgia. It's a little bit of me catching up. But I'm excited for everything that's coming out, with Legion and whatnot. So I need to start, working on my 10-year, subscription as of this month.
Let's see what we get at 20.
I know, right? You're going to get started on that.
At this rate, I mean, it's 11
I'm
years,
sure.
man.
I wouldn't be surprised they fly out to actually take a picture with you, or something like that at that point. Because it's $15 a month over 20 years. Good Lord.
Yeah, man. It's
money well spent.
Yeah, exactly.
Money well spent.
I mean, considering you have a wife out of it, I mean, that's the minor detail, but it's a fun game.
$15 a month for the entertainment that Warcraft
right.
gives you. It's worth every penny.
Yeah. Whereas you buy a Call of Duty for $60 and play for 2 weeks and you're done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my problem. I buy a lot of games. I always come back to Warcraft.
Deanna was telling you earlier to stop buying games as a whole. So.
Yeah, I'm not stopping buying games, Deanna. It's not going to happen.
She just returned your FIFA 16.
Oh, damn
it. She's like, nope.
But, you know,
I saw your Rock Band collection.
That's a whole other thing. Guys, you talk about spending terrible money on video games. I've spent so much money on Rock Band. It's stupid.
I haven't fired it up since I got on Xbox One because I know I will be spending at least $50, if not $150.
It's dangerous,
very
bro.
quickly.
It's dangerous. But you know what, guys? You know, out there, if you're just looking for something that kind of it's an immersive sort of world. The lore is really deep. You've got books upon books of content and lore and backstory, and don't feel intimidated. Like if you have any interest in playing a game like this, don't think that you have to catch up. It almost throughout the process of you leveling up, you figure it out and you become part of this world. And it's awesome, and you meet some of the best people you will ever meet.
It gives you
at least if you join Filthy Casuals,
right?
Exactly. Earthen Ring.
Make
sure you start Horde Earthen Ring for the Horde.
For the Horde.
For the Horde.
For the first 20 levels are free for the original game. So there's no commitment there, you know, just to try it out. And again, they guide you. You get to the point where you get to your first dungeon and say, well, you can't do your first dungeon by yourself. So then you meet people and you go to main areas where you have to trade or buy or whatever. So it kind of pushes you into that social aspect. You could do the game by yourself if you want to, but the game's not really geared that way. It actually wants you to interact with people and do things together, and it's a fantastic platform.
Yep. And I'm going to give a shout out to every single person on the Filthy Casuals raid team. You ready? I got the list right here.
Okay.
All right, so I'm Jericho, so I don't count. All right, so we have Belanos, Ganga, Rascalin, Airbuck, Blackfaith, Frelzer, Drazarn, Didius. Diddy's sitting right here. He goes by Didius in game. Lothria, Laughable, Yesau, Yulong, Laylaps, Golrak. Golrak was the dude I did the podcast with. He's the one with that. What was it? It was Record Breakers. They talk about music and stuff. Awesome podcast. You guys should check it out.
Nathaniel Radcliffe and Night Sweats.
Yeah.
And that was a good album, by the way.
Great album. Lutra, Ilseador, Lucivar, Aurela, Shimrej, Canary, Streech. Special shout outs to Pompeius, Ishmael, Tanis, Moo, Grin. We love you all. Thank you for everything that you guys do. I appreciate that.
You guys have made the last 2 years just fantastic. Every Tuesday night.
So maybe I'll be in that list soon.
Yeah.
I need a level for like another 20 levels first, but then we'll talk.
Well, I think that's a great thing about Warcraft is you can just pick it up and start playing.
Right.
And it really guides you into becoming proficient at it.
Definitely.
Yeah. And
occasionally it hits the reset button, so even though you've learned it really well, you've got to do your trees all over again.
Well, it's like riding a bike, dude. So even for people who are out there who are like interested in coming back or whatever, it's fun. But I always say it's worth trying something once.
Right.
Guys, and people out there have a lot of judgment about a game like World of Warcraft and thinking that, you spend too much time on a game like that or whatever. I say just give it a shot. Mm-hmm. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not Deanna's cup of tea. We tried that. But to argue my point, it's also a completely different game now as compared to when we were in college trying to play it.
Right.
That was our little thing that we were trying to do. She went away for college, so we tried playing it.
Right.
I would be up here, she'd be down at college, and we tried playing it just as like something to kind of do to bond as we were away.
Right. She's like,
and
no.
and no, actually, we had a lot of fun with it for a little while. But then it was a completely different game back then. It was a little more complicated. Right. It's a lot easier now, folks. In a good way. Yeah. In a good way. In a good way, to be fair. Now let's get into some emails. I specifically want to call this guy out. Don sent us an email like he wasn't even going to be on the show.
Actually, I didn't think about that one.
I know. I love it.
I forgot all about it. I was like, oh, crap.
All right. So this is on the topic of Star Trek. We were talking a little bit about the Star Trek, the trailer that came out. Right? There's some mixed thoughts and emotions from a lot of folks. Even Simon Pegg, the guy who wrote it. He was like, it doesn't really kind of capture the whole view of the movie. It looked like your very stereotypical action movie.
Right.
blockbuster
like you expect
movie.
Arnold Schwarzenegger to step out, or Sylvester Stallone, or Dolph Lundgren, or something like that.
Which is good in its own vein, but it's not Star Trek.
It's not Star Trek.
So here's Diddy's email. All right. He says, I sort of agree with you about the Star Trek trailer. I was thinking, what is this movie? Is it Star Trek or Mad Max or something else? And seriously, how many ships are they going to give Kirk to destroy before they don't give him another? The whole premise of the franchise is the exploration of space and the meeting of new cultures, and this one doesn't hit on any of that. At least it didn't seem like it. Just another action movie that we have, and we have enough of them. I can watch Transformers for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you and JoJo have a lot in common in this. But, I think I'm withholding personally my judgment on the movie because I'm going to go see it anyway.
Well, I'm going to go see it anyway.
All of us are.
We're going to go see it.
But I think Jeff summed it up really well. That they were like, or maybe it was you. Whoever it was, that was.
We were both on the same page on that one, so it might have been either one of us.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe they're just trying to, grab Joe Schmo off the street who doesn't really care too much about Star Trek to begin with.
Right.
Maybe.
Star Trek fans are going to watch it anyways, no matter what. Kind of like Star Wars.
Sort of like the Warcraft movie.
Right, exactly.
We're going anyways.
Yeah.
But you can tell by the trailers, they're trying to pull other people into this movie.
Because literally for Warcraft or Star Trek or Star Wars or like Tron, so, depending on what the fan base is, you put a logo on a screen for a teaser for 5 seconds and people go watch it. You don't have to give any kind of context.
Nope.
The exposition they're giving is like, hey, other people who are not familiar with this looks kind of cool. Why don't you go check this out as well? So they're kind of getting a bigger audience in that aspect.
So Don, elaborate a little bit more on your thought. What's your overall?
Well, and that was just it. It just really it looked like Mad Max. That's all I could think was it looks like Mad Max. You're putting out an action film. And I actually sort of felt this way about the last Star Trek too. It sort of got away from the exploration of space.
Right, you're finding new planets, there's politics, there's gray areas, there's sciences,
I agree because, I agree and disagree because in some cases, if I want to watch Star Trek for truly what it is, I'll go watch The Next Generation. Yeah. Because that is, I think, Star Trek in its epitome. It's
shut up, Wesley. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
but truly, it's a space drama. Like, it's a Western. They're exploring and discovering things. I think that if they were to do that in a movie, it wouldn't sell. That's the problem. And maybe there's elements of that in this movie, and they just didn't show it. Maybe.
And I think the other thing that goes along with that idea is that the show kind of establishes that footprint. I mean, The Next Generation and the original series both came out as a whole before the movies came out.
Right.
So you had an established amount of information before you put the movies out. And in the movies, had a little more action.
Weren't there original series movies before The Next Generation came out?
Well, it came out before The Next Generation, but it came out after the original series was done filming.
Okay.
Yeah, so the series is done, and then they added movies. And then they filmed Next Generation, finished it, and then they added the movies afterwards. Right. So you already had this set of information here, so you can do whatever you want with your movies because you already kind of covered everything on that. They don't do that here. You don't have the show to say, this is the science, this is the engineering, this is the politics, this is, all the gray area, whatever. They're just like, hey, here's some broetry. So it's...
Sorry, I'm like recovering from a cold, so if you hear me coughing throughout this episode, I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm recovering.
I think Jamie's going to let this in just as a kind of laugh.
Jamie did a great job editing out
a Hobbies episode.
Yeah, Hobbies. All three of us were sick.
All three of us were coughing constantly, and we only heard, I think, 2 coughs on there. So again,
I didn't notice it at all.
Right, exactly. Thank you, Jamie. Because of that, thank you, Jamie.
So, I don't know, that's where I stand. At least with the Star Trek movie, even if it's an action movie, I'll still probably like it.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine, but what I'm really excited about is this new series coming out where I'm going to get my exploration fix.
Star Wars.
Exploration, exposition, information, just world building, everything. So
and whatever time frame that might be, I don't know. I don't know. They haven't really explained.
I haven't heard when it's coming out.
Yeah. It's gonna
and this is kind of an offset, but Gene Roddenberry always wanted. So the original version of Spock was like a red skin. He almost looked like a devil, right? And there was
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was a couple different things that they did that they changed right before they filmed the new series. But the one thing he wanted consistently across all series, no matter what, is that every race, no matter what it was, every alien race had to have human eyes, which is where Star Trek and Star Wars kind of differed. So if you go through any of the original series, New Generation, Deep Space, or Voyager, all that fun stuff, all the aliens had human eyes. You know, he wanted a human element to it. You know, he didn't want things to be like foreign or, you know, scary or whatever. He wanted things to be, you know, compassionate and whatever, which is, you know, a testament to Gene being an amazing human being. And immediately off the get-go with the new movies, they have aliens that have bigger than normal human eyes, or things that are not human eyes, like the little thing that was beside Scotty.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and all the fun stuff. So they kind of started going
That's an interesting perspective.
You know, directive, you know, so and he's passed, and I'm very sad about that, but it's almost like they kind of say, well, this is Star Trek, and this is our Star Trek now. This is not Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek anymore.
Interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and guys, you know, like Diddi kind of chimed in via email here. Send us an email and let us know, again, geek30podcast@gmail.com. Let us know if you guys have any specific perspectives on the direction of the series as a movie and as a TV show, because we'd love to hear it.
I mean, I just like this segment. This segment was awesome, and that was an email spawned by Diddi. Yeah. You're here right now, but your email spawned an awesome conversation.
Oh, totally.
Can we sell Star Trek to Disney also?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh, my God. Okay, is anybody sad that they sold Star Wars to Disney?
No.
Oh, my God, this was
the best thing that could
ever happen.
I felt that was inevitable inevitable anyways, because there was always Star Wars attractions at Disney as long as I've known Disney World and whatnot. So I felt like that was something that was inevitably going to happen. It was just a matter of George Lucas letting go of the reins. But he finally let go of the reins. He's kind of pouty about the new movies. Like, well, it's not my direction. It's like, yeah, but it's better.
Yeah, but Star Trek could use that infusion.
Yeah, exactly.
It could absolutely. There's so much story to tell. So many.
And I think that's the problem is people focus on, well, everybody wants to see this, and you forget there's this whole world you have to build. Yeah. With Marvel, they're building, you know, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. They're approaching it different ways. Star Wars are building up, you know, the sequel trilogy, plus, you know, the Rogue Squadron, or all Rogue One, you know, anthologies and all that fun stuff. So they're building the world so you have this world to enjoy, so they don't have to give you all the information now. They will give it to you. Yeah. With Star Trek, they're just kind of like, there you go.
Here's an action movie, and it's in the Star Trek
exactly.
universe.
So they kind of missed the Star Trek part of Star Trek. You know? So
and just throwing this out there without driving too much more conversation, because we gotta keep going. But they there's a petition out to let George Lucas direct episode 9.
No.
Oh, agreed.
No.
Agreed.
I only have bad words for that.
Agreed.
No.
Agreed.
No.
Agreed. We'll leave it there. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. 100%. So a shout out to Mike from Maine. We got a really nice note from him. I wanted to read it out. It says, just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed Geek 30 Happy Hour. I've started listening when you popped up in the new and noteworthy section in iTunes, and went back to listen to the first few episodes, and I've been tuning in weekly. I've especially been enjoying the Doctor Who talk since I recently got into the show, starting with Christopher Eccleston. I don't know what you have for New England beer in the DC area other than Sam Adams or Magic Hat. Probably way more than just those. That's why I'm reading this. Don lifted up his glass for you, Mike.
It's a New Hampshire beer.
Yes, this is New Hampshire beer. But I'm happy to send some recommendations your way. He talks about a couple that he wants us to try, and we certainly will, likely on the next episode or something. He says, keep up the great work. Looking forward to what you have in store for 2016. All the best, Mike from Maine. Mike from Maine, thank you so much for your nice words.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, it's really, really awesome.
And we're sorry for the first 2 episodes. That's Alex's fault. Him on the bus. It sounds better after we got Chris Mack on the show.
Yeah, and Mike, as you heard on probably one of the episodes.
No pun intended, but it was a Mike issue.
It was a Mike issue.
That was awful.
It was not my laptop. I was not in control of that. So.
JoJo's so punny. Oh man! All right, but I think it's been a fantastic episode, guys. Happy 2016 to you both. Happy 2016 to the Geek 30 Happy Hour audience.
It's going to be a great year.
It's going to be a great year. We've got a lot of surprises in store for this year. A lot of really cool stuff we're working on. Continue to take a look at the YouTube page. If you go into YouTube, just search for Geek 30 Happy Hour.
You can watch us do really poorly at video games.
And you know what?
I have to say, you guys were hilarious playing Donkey Kong. Just hilarious playing Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Donkey Kong was never that difficult. I remember Donkey Kong Country. I don't know when it became difficult. God. Am I just old now?
It's really hard. It's really hard. Oh my God. But be sure to subscribe on there because we've got a lot of really cool content coming out to YouTube and other video stuff, other content supplemental to the podcast in general. We're really looking to grow this thing here in 2016. Tell your friends about the podcast. Get them listening. If they like this sort of conversation, let your friends know.
If they want, we've covered a bunch of beers, so if you want ideas about beers, we have a lot of them already. If they have ideas for beers, we want to hear them because there's tons of beers that we don't even know about yet. So let us know. Like, this is the first time I've heard of this. This is amazing.
Totally.
I wouldn't have known to pick this up, and I need to go pick one up now.
and all of our beers featured on our website. On the various episodes that we record, in the show notes. So with that, Jojo, where can people reach us?
So as always, we have our email handle, which is geek30podcast@gmail.com, and everything's spelled out, geek30podcast@gmail.com. We do have a Twitter handle as well, @geek30, which is also spelled out. If you want to call us and leave us a message, which we got one from a pharmacy.
Yeah. Some poor sap left there and left the wrong voicemail, so somebody was calling me trying to leave prescription. I was like, what?
No, didn't we get it from the pharmacy?
Yeah, it was from the pharmacy.
So I can go to Chicago right now and pick up a prescription, I think.
Yeah, so if anybody wants some illicit drugs, let us know.
There we go. But if you want to do that and you're not a pharmacy, then you can catch us at 443-424-3350.
Yep, and of course, all the goodness is at geek30.com. Spell the word 30 out. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes.
That's how Mike found us.
Let more people like Mike find us.
Awesome people like Mike.
Yes.
And awesome people like Diddi.
And like Diddi. Thank you, Don Miller.
Thank you for having me, guys. It was great.
It was fun, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll be seeing you, I guess, around the neighborhood.
Yes, around the neighborhood.
Right? And
I might be online here with y'all pretty soon anyway.
You have to come join us. So
I need power level 20 levels, but I'm at 90. I need to get to that point.
Yes.
And hey, if anybody else would like to join us, they can tune into the Twitch channel.
Yeah, talk about that, Don.
We have Filthy Casuals has a Twitch channel.
It is Don.
Which I run.
Yep.
It is twitch.tv/Diddi_AIE. It's DIDDI_AIE.
I'm gonna check that out while I'm power leveling. Seriously, that'd be awesome.
Tuesday nights, 8 to 11 Eastern. We have a blast with that. So if you ever want to hear all the shit that we get into on Tuesday nights, I won't be there for the next couple weeks because I am going to be on travel. But you'll be able to hear the rest of the
part of that trip is a combination of two of your loves.
Yeah.
Disney and Star Wars.
Yes. So this is all part of the extra content that we're going to be sending your way. I'm doing a 5K, Star Wars 5K next week. And so stay tuned for that. I'll be posting the video from that.
Awesome.
I'm going to strap a GoPro to my head.
Nice.
and run that thing. I'm going to be wearing some Star Wars gear.
Awesome.
But with that, let's also give a shout out to Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
Jamie.
Thank you for your production.
He's living that cough in, but the other episode he cut them all out. So. And if it sounds good, it's his fault.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie, for everything that you do. Thank you to this awesome beer company. Who's the beer again?
Smuttynose. Smuttynose Robust Porter.
All right, go check it out, guys. Thank you to you all for listening. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Have a great night.
See ya.